Hey guys, it doesn't matter,
LM the Dream.
and this is episode 22 of our podcast Confessions of a Stand Mixer edition. Today we are going to be answering a question that you guys, I think, have asked us a couple times now. I know for sure that you guys definitely asked us right when we started the podcast when we were taking your questions for that Q&A first episode, and I'm pretty sure at the time we dodged it.
Definitely.
um I mean, we might have quote unquote answered it, but we definitely dodged it.
We didn't go into detail.
Yeah. So today we thought we would go into detail and get ourselves in trouble.
Yeah.
We're doing that a lot lately.
No regrets, honestly.
Okay, so the question that you guys asked us was have we ever considered or ever wanted to leave the fandom? Our answer is yes.
Short answer, yes.
Very solidly, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So we have kind of put together a, list of kind of different reasons, different things that have made us want to leave. And
There's a lot.
yeah, there's a lot. And so that's what we're going to kind of go through as we, I guess, just kind of explain our reasoning, and I think some of you will agree with some of these things. And
Yeah, definitely.
first up, I have just kind of like the general attitude, I guess, of the fandom, which is that like it's very entitled and negative and immature and ignorant and selfish and toxic and all that.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, like about everything.
Like toxic is like if you could describe the fandom in one word.
Toxic is the word.
Toxic or negative. Like
Yeah. I've really been noticing lately like the entitlement of the fandom. I don't think I noticed that one right off the bat. I kind of noticed like all the others, but I've definitely been noticing the entitlement.
Also, I want to quickly say that some of this stuff is like very specific to certain platforms. Like we'll get into it like when the topic comes up. But like I know there's gonna be some YouTube stands or like not stands, but like people who don't have like Instagram or Twitter and be like, what do you mean? Like I thought it was like a great like place. A lot of this stuff is very specific to certain like apps or certain places, I guess. If that makes sense.
Certain sections of the fandom.
Yeah.
Like there's a
So
divide between like Twitter stands and Insta stands and YouTube people, and I don't know.
yeah, so if you didn't know that, sorry for like the rude awakening that's gonna follow. But
And they
yeah, I
all
don't
hate
know.
each other.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that just in case anybody like gets confused because I know that like the majority of the people who watch my channel don't have like Instagram
Yeah,
or
I
Twitter.
do know like a lot of you don't have other social medias. I will say that like some of this still applies to YouTube.
Yes, definitely.
I've started to notice that more and more recently.
Hmm.
I used to kind of like not see it really on YouTube, but it's coming around. It's making its way.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Yeah, I think that when the girls are inactive, like the fandom self destructs.
Yeah, they get bored, so they pick fights.
Yeah. Uh, so, and I've seen that like kind of seeping onto YouTube. Not necessarily the picking fights, but I've just seen the self destructiveness and like some of the really negative sides of the fandom coming onto YouTube that previously weren't as strong.
Hmm.
Which one do you want to tackle first?
Um, I have clickiness first. Do you want to like address that, or do you want to do something else first?
We can do that one first.
Okay. I don't even know how to start with this one. Um, simple
Very much
words.
a high school lunchroom.
Yes, that's what I have in here. Like it acts like a high school when a good amount of the fans are way out of high school. um, like in simple terms, well, high school. There are
Specifically, this is something that's really true of Twitter, and Twitter tends to be where the older
yes.
section of the fandom is.
Yeah, I don't really see it that much on Instagram, and if there's a click, it's not like a negative click.
Click.
Ugh, click. I was thinking of something else that I was gonna say. That's what happened. Um, there's just a lot of friend groups in this fandom, which isn't a bad thing at all, but it's when the groups start talking about other groups or putting down other fans, and then there's turns into this big war. Like, I have like the example of like drop an emoji in our group chat, we'll talk honestly about you, or something like that. Like, that one isn't really bad. I just couldn't think of like a better example to use, but people will post stuff like that.
I've just seen kind of like the clickiness comes from like the subtle shading and then pretending you weren't shading.
Yeah.
Like I know personally, I mean, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know I literally never go on. Um and I had to go on for the Sweet Melody campaign and I actually ran into some of these clicks like shading me, just like showing up on my timeline. Some of them like I didn't even follow. They were just the Twitter algorithm was putting them on my timeline. And they weren't calling me out by name, but they were being shady anyway, and they were being shady as a clique. Like it wasn't one person, it was like a thread of the same like group of friends. Um and like I don't really personally care. However, like that's the kind of like clickiness that we're talking about.
Mhm. Like, not all of them are bad, but, like, there's, like, a select few that'll come up, like, every so often, and you just see them, like
Yeah, and I don't even wanna say that necessarily, like, those people are bad, um, but, like, that clicky group mentality thing,
yeah.
does tend to lead towards, like, not the best outcomes,
Mhm.
but I don't
Yeah.
think that makes the people who are in them necessarily, like, bad.
No, it's just, like, the mean girl type of behavior.
And the thing too is that, like, it's almost kind of a mentality that you can get into with your friends in real life, and you don't really think twice about it, and I'm sure I've been guilty of it in real life.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you're doing it online on a public platform, it's no longer private, and that's,
Yeah.
like, part of the problem, is that it's not in your group chat, it's on your Twitter.
Yeah, like, I'm definitely guilty to doing some of this stuff, but there's a difference doing it, like, in private to your friends or online where it'll be there for everybody to see, including the person you're talking poorly about.
Yeah, I remember Jessie said, something like that really put it home for me. Like she wasn't talking about the fandom. She was talking about like people who were commenting on her weight and stuff, like going online to comment and like at her and stuff.
Mhm.
And she was like, "Don't get me wrong." She's like, "I know that when you're at home sitting in front of the television, like you're gonna say what you're gonna say. You're gonna make your comments." She's like, "I don't care about that, but to go out of your way to do it publicly is like the
Yeah.
problem."
Yeah, I remember that line, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I feel like that kind of sums up why the clickiness is a problem is because it's not happening privately.
Mhm.
Which one do you wanna go to next?
Do you wanna kinda go to, like, the age range because I feel like that kinda plays into it a little bit?
Yeah. So, the fandom is very diverse in the age of the fans.
Mhm.
We've got some very, very young ones.
The ones still in the DNA salute, get weird arrows.
Yes. And then we've got those who are in, their mid-20s. Based on my video demographics, I know that they definitely like, the majority of my viewers are, like, 20 to 30, so I know
Oh, really?
that yeah, it's, like, 18 to 34 is that main key demographic. So I know that the majority of people who watch my videos are actually older. But it's the young ones who are interactive and comment and stuff, and I think that's true of
Yeah.
the other platforms as well, because when you're in your mid to late 20s or early 30s, you don't really have time for the fandom bullshit, you're just watching what you wanna watch, or listening to what you wanna listen to, and so I think that even though they have fans that are up in that age bracket, they're not in the fandom,
Yeah.
which leaves us with, like, the younger 20s and the teens and the preteens.
Yeah.
From what I have gathered, but I don't spend a ton of time on social media, so maybe you can help about with this. Um, the way it kind of groups up is like YouTube is pretty young,
Mhm.
Twitter's on the older side, and Instagram is like in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I've seen. It's like Instagram can go, like, one of 2 ways. You'll get, like, a few 10-year-olds or you'll get, like, 18, 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really it's weird.
Um, and I feel like teens to 20s is where you is mostly on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely.
And yet I feel like Twitter's the most toxic.
Because it definitely is. Because it's, like, the battle between, like, the like younger like teenagers who kind of think that they know like what's going on and all that stuff, and then like the older ones being like no, and then them getting canceled because they're saying what's on their mind. That's from my experience. That's what I've seen.
Even some of the older ones.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Um, but yeah, the not picking on you if you were on the younger side, but, like, the what the young base of the fandom, like, how significant the young base that interacts in the fandom definitely causes friction and issues. So it's not that
Yeah.
you yourself, because you're young, are causing an issue, it's just that general, like, when there's enough of a divide like that within the fandom, it causes friction and problems because, like, you have people like us in our 20s trying to have conversations about serious things with 10-year-olds or 13-year-olds or even 15, 16, 17. Like, as it goes up, it gets easier, but even so, like, I gotta be honest, I find, like, I'm what, coming up on 24, or I am 24, I'm coming on 25, I don't really remember, um, but I think I'm coming up on 25. Holy crap. Okay, so, even, like, I find it difficult to talk to people in their late teens. Not always, but just sometimes I still find that even that can be a little difficult. Um, so and it's not that there's something wrong with them, right? It's just that gap of, like, that maturity and growth that happens between each of these stages does cause issues.
Yeah. Like I'm going to be 19 in like 2 weeks. So I'm still like definitely classify as like in the teen category where I think that this is happening and this is happening when like it's not, but at the same time I don't draw attention to it. Like I'm in like the very like transition phase, I feel like, cuz like I see it's wrong. I see what's happening. I see like I know like not to do it, but then again also be like have a moment where I'm like, "Oh, really?" Like be a little oblivious, that's the word.
Yeah. It sounded like, "Oh, that means older is better." It's just like a growing up thing.
Yeah. You see it more as you get older.
Yeah, like, it really is, like, as you mature and get more perspective on things, like, as your world broadens outside of what it is, right? Like, you just have you feel differently and you see it differently. I don't know, it doesn't mean we all see it the same way, just you get, like, a different perspective on it. I don't really know how to
Yeah.
explain it, to be honest. You just kinda care less, and you have less
Yeah.
patience.
Yeah, because then I feel like because when I first joined the fandom, I was definitely, like, one of the people like, "Oh, like, commenting or whatever and stuff," and now I'm, like, definitely seeing, like, it's just like high school, like, I don't know. It's just, like, that type of mentality in that group. Um, and, like, obviously not everybody, like, every single fan will fall into a category like that, but
These are, like, general issues that we see within the fandom. This isn't, like, an
yeah.
attack on every person in the fandom. This is, like, for whatever reason, the mix of people we have in this fandom results in a general this.
Yeah, and, like, especially to, like, going back to, like, there being, like, that friction between, like, the age groups, I feel like it's more of, like, I'm gonna call them, like, the middle teens, like, that age range, like, I don't know, I don't have names for those. Like, the middle teens are, like I don't wanna say, like, the ones, like, causing, like, an uproar, but they're definitely more vocal about it being, like, a split between, like, "Oh, there's so many younger fans, like, they don't know what's going on," like, that type of thing, whereas, like, the adults are more, like,
Yeah, like, I gotta be honest, when I
quieter.
see, like, a young fan in my comment section or in another comment section, I don't really think twice about it. Sometimes maybe I'll roll my eyes at whatever they said because I think it's naive or has, like, blinders on, but I certainly don't feel the need to call it out or think or I mean, when I say roll my eyes, I mean, be like, "Oh, this again," just because I like to see things with nuance, and when you're younger, you don't really.
Mhm.
And that's not anyone's fault. Like you're growing up. It's what happens, like gaining nuance when you look at things as part of growing up. When I see like very solid, like it's this, I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
you're young.
Yeah.
But I don't think like, oh, they're the worst. It's so annoying. Like I hate that they're in the fandom.
Yeah, like, I don't see, like, why there's such, like, a big line, like, I don't like, I see, like, why there's a line, obviously, but, like, I don't see why
I
there's
don't
so much
understand why like
arguing.
the middle teens have such an issue with it.
Mhm. Like,
Um,
you're gonna get that in all fandoms, like, this one is just especially because, like, there's so many different, like, eras with different types of maturity levels just because they were getting older as they were releasing music, so there's obviously gonna be, like, a drift, but I don't see the need why there, like, needs to be arguing.
I don't see like why there's a need to like kind of pick on it and like harp on it.
Mhm.
I mean, for the most part, the younger fans, I feel like kind of stay to themselves. At least
Yeah,
that's
they
what I've
definitely don't
seen.
annoy anybody. Like,
Yeah.
are they a little bit oblivious to things? Like, yes, but so is every younger, like, kid, like,
Yeah, like,
that's normal.
it's not specialized to, like, fans like, younger fans of Little Mix, that's just how it works when you're younger.
Yeah, like, I feel like they're, like, getting called out on just for being younger when it's not, like, their fault.
Yeah, I don't know, I think it's, like, a little catty.
Yes.
It kinda feels like when you're at summer camp and you're in, like, the older kids' cabin, it kinda feels a bit like, "Well, you have to do an activity with them," you know, like,
Yes.
it kinda feels like that when it's, like, really you all would've just sectioned off into groups and it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
It's just, like, unnecessary.
Mhm.
And this plays into, like, this immature aspect too, right?
Mhm.
When we say immature, we're not calling out the 10-year-olds.
Yeah, just the catty behavior.
Yeah, like the catty behavior, shadiness to other people in the fandom, that's all, like, the immaturity that we're talking about. And then maybe that leads into can't have our own opinion?
Yes, definitely.
Alright, that was primarily yours, so why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, um, because this is, like, something I see a lot. I see it, like, everywhere, but I don't really see, like, there being, like, a lot of backlash for having your own opinion, except, like, for on Twitter. Um, Man, Twitter's just really taking a beating in this.
I mean, it
Um,
deserves it.
it does. Um, because like, this happens especially when new albums come out, moving on to, like, a new era, people start ranking stuff, they'll start ranking their songs, their opinions, whatever, and I feel like our, like, fandom is the first to say, like, "You're allowed to have your own opinion, like, you're free to do so," and then as soon as you do, you can't. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I will say, like, I've seen this on I mean, I've definitely seen it on Twitter, but as far as, like, how I've experienced it, um, I've seen it on my channel, so, like,
Oh, yeah.
um my, like, outfit ranking, the amount of people who kinda rudely not people who are just like, "But I love Joan of Arc," right? But, like, people who very rudely was like, "Why the fuck is Joan of Arc so low?" Or, like, "There's something wrong with you," or "You're wrong." Like, these very strong, aggressive statements because of an outfit ranking.
Yeah, like, it's fine to, like, jokingly be like, "Oh, like, no, like, it's definitely this one just because you love it so much," but then, like, when you start getting, like, aggressive about it, no. Like, just stop. Hun, chill down.
That's kind of like that's where the issue comes in, right? Like, we do rankings all the time, we disagree all the time, I mean, we surprisingly have a lot of agreements, but, like, you love Breakup Song and I hate it.
Yeah, like, not everybody has to love what you love. Everybody has a different opinion. That's life. Deal with it. To put it bluntly.
There are a lot of things to, like, die on a hill for. This shit isn't it.
No, like, just let it be. No, like, just let it be. That's why I say steer clear of a lot of rankings on my channel. Because I did a video that was, like, underrated songs, and then I got comments yelling at me being like, "Are you sure this is underrated? There is no way." And I'm like, "Okay, in my opinion, it is.
Yeah,
Leave it." Very aggressive ones. There's a nice way to put it, but just straight up being like, why wasn't this letter this?"
yeah.
Like, just leave it. There's a reason I chose it. It's mine. Deal with it. So my favorite comment to, like, reply to that, somebody replied, to one of those types of comments on my channel going they went, "Well, if you want it so bad, make it yourself." And I was crying. Yeah,
Honestly, though, um
opinions aren't a thing in the fandom, pretty much.
there's, like, a weird backlash that sometimes happen, and it's usually over, like, the stupid stuff.
Yeah, especially when it's popular stuff, like popular songs like Forget You Not, Secret Love Song, Touch. Like, if you say you dislike one of those songs or it's not your favorite, suddenly you're like a bad fan or you don't have a music taste. Like,
Yeah. I've
which
even seen
makes
a
me want to not like.
I've even seen a backlash of everyone kind of hating on Black Magic now, and I
Yeah.
see, people are like, "People only do it because Jesse said it," and I'm like, "Nope, hated it the entire time."
Yeah, like I definitely was more vocal about it when Jesse said it.
'Cause as soon as she said it, it was kind of like you had permission to say it,
Yeah.
you know, but, like, always thought it.
Yeah, exactly. It was never one of my favorites.
But yeah, so that's, can't have our own opinion. Um, this kinda just ties in everything we've kinda said just ties into this overall negative vibe.
Yeah.
Everything is always phrased so negatively, all the conversations we have, like, get framed so negatively, um, and negative isn't necessarily, like, hate or bullying. Like, even you just saying, "Why wasn't this this?" Or, like, "It should have been this," that's a negative comment.
Yeah.
It's not a hate comment. You didn't necessarily say something wrong, but, like, that's a negative way to say that. There are
Mhm.
positive, more friendly, open ways to say it. It's just a matter of changing the way you go to interact, especially online, right? Where, like, there's no tone of voice or anything or visual cue
Mhm.
to read your statement with. It's literally just the words, and we don't know you. You're a complete stranger.
We could take it very wrong.
Yeah, so, like, everything comes across a little bit harsh. I struggle with this, actually,
Same.
because I'm very blunt in real life, if you can't tell from this podcast. I'm very blunt, and I'm very, careful with my words and very passionate, and so when I go online and I'm trying to have a discussion with someone about something important to me, my tone or my words can come off harsher than I mean them to. And
Oh.
that's something I sometimes have to try to check, and I have to, like, write into the whatever I'm saying, like, "This isn't meant to be this, but here's the thought."
Yeah.
And so I have had to like, I struggle with myself outside of the fandom, and I've had to try to learn how to, compensate for it in other ways while still being able to say what I wanna say. Um and so that's something that, like, doesn't get done within the fandom, there's no compensating. Um,
Yeah.
it's just, like, negativity everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like especially, like, in times when there's nothing, like, kind of like right now, I don't know when everybody's seeing this, there could be stuff happening, but
Yeah, we record way in advance, guys.
yeah, so, like, right now, they're, like, pretty much radio silent, like, we got one thing today. I feel like that's when the fandom really just takes a dip, like we said earlier, like, it just gets really negative because there's nothing for us to focus on or be, like, excited about. And I feel like when that happens, it definitely, like, spreads onto the girls because then they feel the negative energy from us, so then they aren't in much of a mood to talk to us because they don't wanna face that. That's kind of my take on it, like, I feel like it definitely, like, spreads onto them, and then they start to see it, and then it just kinda goes into, like, a whole chain reaction.
We complain about how our fandom is so small or how people leave, but, like, who wants to stick around for that?
Yeah, we have a very standoffish vibe.
I mean, we're telling you we've wanted to leave because of these things.
Yeah.
I know people who have left the fandom because of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like, "Oh, they're not loyal to the girls." It's like, this isn't a
Too
pleasant
loyal.
place to be. This is I can't tell you how bad YouTube is for my mental health.
Yeah.
I don't get positives from this anymore.
Yeah, that's why I've just, like, only been posting and staying off of, like, interacting just because I don't like to see it, so I tend to just kinda keep to my channel because I don't wanna, like, jinx myself, but knock on some wood, so far, there hasn't been too much negativity spread to my channel,
Yeah,
so
I don't know what it is, guys, but, like, negativity on my channel up the wazoo. I can't get rid of it.
yeah, I get, like, a few comments, like, here and there, but overall, I have a like, my channel like, my subscribers aren't very negative, so I don't mind being on there, but it's when I go onto, like, Instagram and Twitter, that's when it's like, "No, not at all."
Yeah, I spend
So
very little time on Twitter and Instagram. I go on Instagram more, however, I have, like, a
mhm.
ten-minute restriction daily for Instagram. So even if I'm on, I'm not really on.
Yeah.
I've never hit the 10-minute limit on Instagram, like, I have it set up, but I've never hit it. Uh, so I usually typically what I'll do is I'll go on for about 30 seconds at a time, um, and so basically, like, it's very small doses of Instagram, which is probably why I like Instagram better is because I don't do anything on it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I use Instagram, like, I'm only on my main account. Like, I
Yeah.
very rarely, like, I'll check my other one if I get a notification or if I need to post.
And it's not pleasant too because, like, you guys might think, like, it's not a big deal to post something like that, like a comment like that, but, like, for me, I get hundreds of them regularly.
Yeah, it'll be one from somebody else, but then, like
You're one person, but I'm a channel that's getting hundreds of them a week.
mhm. Yeah.
So and that's on top of the actual hate comments I'm getting, the ones I have to delete because they're so atrocious.
Yeah.
And I mean, what like, you were surprised by how bad it was when we first started doing this, and I told you about it, right?
Yeah, normally, when I get hate comments directed towards me, they're not from the Little Mix fandom. Yeah, so
And this might have to do with the fact that 'cause a lot of nasty comments do come from the viral videos, right? So, a lot of
yeah.
the negativity can also come from that, and I have to sort through all of it. So, that might be another reason why my channel is particularly affected. But, like, it's not like that's the only source it's coming from. It also is coming from the fandom. And, like, I delete hate comments about the girls. I delete hate comments directed at me. I delete hate comments directed at other celebrities if it's on a viral video. And that's, the hate comments I have to delete, and that's not even considering all of just, like, the negative ones that are a little, like, rude or, like, short or, like, insensitive, you know?
Yeah, normally I leave those.
Yeah, I usually leave those ones up. Um, so you think, "Oh, it's not a big deal, I'm not doing anything wrong." But, like, if I've deleted 20 hate comments that day, and then you post that, I'm kind of like, "Well, fuck off." Like, after I've just, like, deleted a bunch of shit, calling people, like, dumb and bitch and, like, fat and sex dolls and, like, plastic and bimbo and trash and, like,
Stupid.
stupid, your comment in and of itself doesn't really, you think, make a difference, but I'm not just dealing with your comment. And so maybe, like, that's something to consider, and that's true of everyone too, like, we see it on a bigger scale because of our channels,
Mhm.
but that's true of everyone, right? Like, you're making, like, one maybe shady comment or negative comment, but everyone is interacting with more than just you, especially in a fandom, right? Where we're all incessantly, like, interacting with each other. Like,
Close quarters.
yeah, no one's ever just dealing with you every day.
No.
Better to just phrase it more positively.
And
It's
that's where
really
the clickiness
easy.
comes in, because then the whole group will be making comments.
And that's just what we mean by, like, the general negativity of it. Like, just phrase things more positively, guys. Like, just be more thoughtful with your words. It makes for a much better environment.
It does.
You wanna move on to selfish, ignorant, or entitled?
I feel like it goes really good with, like, selfish.
Okay. Not everything is about you. Most things are not about you. Not everything is gonna be how you want it, when you want it. Not everything is going to be to your taste. Get over it.
Yeah.
Does it like, even when it comes to concerts and tours, does it really suck that they don't tour worldwide? As a US fan, the answer is
Yes.
yes. On the other hand, I'm not going to be indignant over it or lash out over it. If they could, they would. We know that the girls want to travel. We know they want a worldwide tour. So being selfish and indignant and negative about it doesn't do any good. It doesn't get you what you want. You're again just being toxic and negative and spreading that around the fandom.
Yeah, a lot of it too is, like, they don't have to tell us a lot of the stuff that they do tell us because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We're just seeing what they choose to put out there. Um, so we could always a lot of people are like, I need to know this. I want this. Like, this needs to happen in this." But a lot of what's actually happening gets ignored, I feel like.
while you were talking, what popped into my head as like a recent example is Jesse leaving. There's
Mhm.
been like a lot of like, well, why won't they just tell us?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, because it's not our business.
Yeah.
Again, entitled. I feel like this is going to lead into entitled. Um, we're not like entitled to that. Like, wanting them to bare their soul just because you want it is a kind of insensitive and disrespectful. They're human beings first and foremost, and they need to keep their private life private. And the boundaries they set for themselves are boundaries we should respect.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people forget that because they see them as celebrities, so it's like, "Oh, it's just like a TV character's plot line."
Which I really think this leads into entitlement.
Yeah, it also leads into inappropriate comments.
It really does.
Both of those.
Let's start with entitlement.
Okay.
Entitlement, I have seen this so much lately. It's probably the primary thing getting on my nerves right now, just because I've been
Yeah.
noticing it a lot lately. It doesn't mean it's like more important than the other things. It's just like the thing that's most recently been annoying me. You're not entitled to shit, and it's not about you. I see like fans under Jesse's posts and under like update accounts, upset with the fact that, you know, she's I mean, we don't even know what her song is about. So like this is stupid to begin with, but like she's teased a line of like trackies on and them tattoos. And people are under her comments and stuff being like, I expected more from you, that this was going to be like more emotional or about her experiences or like why she left. Are you demanding that like she bare her soul to you in a song?
Yeah.
She doesn't owe you anything. You're not entitled to her innermost thoughts and feelings. If she wants to make a song that's feel good about freaking M&Ms, then she wants to make a song about M&Ms.
Yeah, it's her career, which I think a lot of people forget about. Like, she's do they listen to, like, their fans? Yes. But is she going to choose what her fans want over what she wants? No, most likely not.
Or even just like with Perry posting, there's this huge fucking thing, like especially on Twitter, that's like hounding her to post. And like it's been going on for like weeks now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not entitled to that. Leave the girl alone. She does not have to post on social media for you. Get off. You just don't get access to those things. You don't get access to like know everything about their relationships. You like don't get to I also like this like acting like you know everything about them and so you know best. Like what Lee or Jade or Perry or Jesse should be doing because like your way is the best way because you are like all knowing. Like we get such a very limited amount of information about things that are going on in their career and in their personal lives. We know shit.
Yeah.
So for us to be like, well, they're not handling it this way and this is how they should be handling it and are they dumb for not doing it like this? No, they're not. We're entitled brats. um yeah, so like I've been noticing the entitlement like making its way onto YouTube and I got to tell you, like I'm getting real fed up with it.
Yeah, I feel like that also plays into, like, the whole negativity, like, you can say, "Oh, I wish that she would write a song about this." There's nothing wrong with saying that, but it's when you start hounding and getting demanding and getting, like, intrusive, that's when there's a problem.
Yeah, like acting as if like, oh, if she doesn't write a song about that, then like her leaving or her making solo music isn't valid.
Yeah.
Like, excuse you? And then that also kind of leads us to ignorant, right?
Yes.
The girls have been opening up, all of them, about really important topics, and the fandom is not educating themselves on those topics. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because then you have a fandom of people who go around talking about these topics because their favorites are talking about them, but they have no actual education on it. And so they're making blunders and mistakes and harmful comments and microaggressions and misunderstandings. And then because the fandom is also negative and prone to attack, then they get weaponized. And it all leads to a very toxic, negative environment.
Yeah, that's basically yeah, yeah, literally.
And that includes mental illness, mental health, Black Lives Matter, race issues, what Jade is talking about with the Yemen crisis, LGBTQIA, all of those things y'all aren't educating yourself on. and and social media is not education.
No.
That is not an acceptable way to claim that you now understand these very complicated, nuanced subjects and to think that you then have the right to talk about them. If you're going to stand someone who's passionate and open and campaigning for things, you really, 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 really need to educate yourself on them.
Yeah.
It's important because your favorite is talking about it and so you're going to be talking about it and so you should be educated, but also you should be educated about it anyway. Because it goes outside the fandom, like, it goes into when you have discussions with friends and family, you are coming and you are drawing from a knowledge base that is solid and based in fact and proof and not just, like, anecdotal evidence, and you're talking about it in ways that are more productive, and you're not just, like, spewing out anecdotal stuff or like memes or threads. You need to do your research, you need to educate yourself, and you need to do it outside of social media. You need to read books, you need to read articles, you need to listen to the experts in the fields. You know what I mean? Like you really need to educate yourself in it truly, like properly. Um and that's really important.
Yeah, definitely.
This leads to inappropriate comments, which runs into the people asking about Jade's boyfriend and hair while she was trying to bring awareness to the crisis in Yemen.
Yeah. No.
Talk about ignorant and immature and uh, toxic.
Yeah.
That's completely inappropriate. I don't even know that we really need to expand on that. Like,
No, we really
it's just
don't.
wrong. It's just not okay.
And it's even worse that she had to address it halfway through.
Yeah, the fact that it was so bad that it wasn't even like a couple comments she could ignore.
Mhm.
Like, yikes, guys, yikes. Like,
Yeah.
sad moment in the fandom. Um,
Yeah.
I think that kind of covers that one, right?
Yeah.
Next off, I have the never happy, passive aggressive know it alls. Yeah, this fandom is never chill. Like, we're never satisfied. We're never happy with what they give us.
No,
And this
never.
ties into that like negative entitled stuff and this selfish stuff. They release songs, and instead of being excited about it, we're like, "Oh, this song is shit.
Yeah, or I don't like who we're collabing with.
Yeah, I don't like this collab," or, "Why is there only this amount of songs?" or "Why isn't it being played on the radio?" or "Why isn't it charting higher?" or "Why aren't they, putting it on sale?" or "Why aren't they doing this or that?" Like, could we ever just stop and, like, be happy for a minute?
Yeah, like, I'm happy when we just get stuff. Like
Alright, I think that leads us into the, like, passive aggressive digs at the girls. I think this kind of goes to, like, their outfit choices, some of, like, what they choose to do or who they choose to date, like, just, like, excessive judging.
Yeah.
Even, like, taking aim at their vocals sometimes, like, I find this happens a lot to, like, Jade and Lee. Not Jade, sorry, Perry and Lee. I'm the first one to openly acknowledge that, like, Perry has, like, an issue with belting too much and then having strain. Sometimes, like, it's too much, like, people are, like, constantly downing her for it when it's not even a problem at that moment in time.
Mhm.
Or even, like, people do passive aggressive things at, like, their vocal coach or outfits they wear, like, I don't know, like, it's just, like, a bunch of unnecessary passive aggressive stuff, especially when the girls are quiet.
Definitely some backhanded compliments happening.
Yeah, and it's just not necessary.
Yeah.
This whole podcast is going to be summed up into you're not entitled to shit and don't be so negative.
Yeah.
And educate yourself. That's going to be the motto of this podcast, but we're going to go through all of it.
Yeah.
And then this also is going to go into like know it alls.
Oh god.
This is a lot of places. This is on Jesse's mental health. This is on their relationships. This is on the way that they should handle like music rollouts and discounting of songs and singles and performances and promo and tours and like everything up the wazoo.
Yeah. Like
uh I like and I just have to point out like none of you are experts in absolutely any of that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we have a psychologist or a psychiatrist in our midst. Maybe you've gone through that much schooling. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we do have some like professional celebrity stylists. Maybe we do have some
music industry.
CEO promo teams. You know, maybe we do have some of those. I'm gonna go with probably not, especially since the majority of the fandom that interacts online isn't even old enough to have gotten into those positions or studied to that extent.
Yeah.
We can all curb it on the entitled know it all attitude.
Yeah, it's like it'll like pop up when there's like some quote unquote like scandal, and then everybody just seems to know like exactly what's happening.
Or
But
anytime they release music.
yeah, like oh they should discount the song here and then do promo here and then they should have gotten it on this radio and then this would happen. Well, if they would have, if they could have, they would have. Like there's a reason why they're doing it. You could have a different opinion on like what your take is, but they're the ones who are in the profession. They most likely will know what's happening over you.
I'm also going to specifically call out Jesse's mental health
Yeah.
because it's relevant right now. I pray to God that when this comes out, it's not relevant.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, though, that that's too much to ask for. You are not a mental health expert. You are not a mental illness expert. I don't care if you've had one, if you've had the ones that Jesse has. You are not a Jesse expert, and you are certainly not an expert in Jesse's mental health. We know what she's told us, and she's told us very little, including in her documentary, which was only half about her and wasn't almost entirely focused on the first 3 years of Little Mix,
Yeah.
which takes us to 2014. There's been a lot of years in between 2014 and now. And you also can't put 3 years into a 60-minute video that's half not about you. So we know shit. Jessie knows herself better than we do. And what we should do is be respectful and like, I want to use the word adhere, but that's not the right word. And like default, that's a little bit better, but not quite what I'm looking for. Like default to what she says,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Like it's not about you, it's not about what you think. Like if she thinks leaving the band is going to be good for her mental health, then we just need to believe her. And we
Yeah.
need to operate on that like premise. And if she believes that music is going to make her happy, we just need to believe her and operate on that premise. It's just disrespectful, is what it
Yeah.
is. Like pretending that you know better than the person that it's actually happening to is just disrespectful and entitled and negative. Moving on, I think, unless you have anything else to say.
No, you covered it.
Okay. Moving on to we're really rude to other fandoms.
Oh god.
We don't
Yeah.
play well with others. I mean, we don't play well with ourselves. That sounds wrong. But like we also don't play well with others.
Yeah. Gets real bad.
And I think that also ties into the fact that we have a superiority complex,
Oh yeah.
especially when it comes to like Fifth Harmony and Blackpink.
Yeah.
It goes too far, guys.
Yeah.
It really does. I understand wanting like the girls to have like the biggest stats and like recognition and to be popular and successful. I understand those things. But like this fighting over who sings live and then using examples of like when our girls don't sing live. um, or like pretending they don't like ever lip sync, or like these fights over like dancing, over like songs, over awards, over
Everything.
guys, there's so many statistics. Like we all have like a very impressive amount. Like Fifth
Mhm.
Harmony, Little Mix, Blackpink, One Direction, like whatever you want to compare us to. Like there's so many different measures of success and standards that you can have. We're not going to ever have all of them, and we just need to be okay with that.
Yeah. I feel like it gets really bad too because we'll fuel other fandoms. Like, is KSI the one that like had
Oh
something come
yeah.
out the same? Yeah, like there was him and there was somebody else. I don't remember who it was.
Although
There was
to be
another
fair,
artist.
from what I remember, he was a dick first.
Yeah, he definitely was.
But, like,
But
we definitely fed into that, like, we turned it into a bigger thing than it
exactly.
was.
Yeah, like it didn't need to be a thing. Like, sure, if he was talking bad about us, we should have just left it. He would have stopped a lot earlier on. Like, we don't need to bring more attention.
It wouldn't have been so extreme.
Yeah, exactly. And then we complain about it being so extreme. It's because we're feeding into it. Even saying like small digs that you don't think anybody's going to see, they're going to come up. Trust me. So like feeling people just don't do it. If you see it, honestly, like I know like the gut instinct is to like fight back and like say something to like put them in their place. If it's some petty comment about KSI's music being better than like KSI's new song being better than Little Mix's new song, just leave it. They'll give up. They'll see that we don't care. Like, I don't
And we
know.
shouldn't care.
Exactly, like it's music. It's competitive. Every type of thing like that
Every
is.
artist thinks that their song is great.
Yeah.
Like, not to say that, like, that doesn't mean the song isn't great just because they believe that, but, like, they wouldn't have put it out,
Yeah.
usually, depending on the label situation they're in. Usually, they wouldn't put it out if they didn't think it was amazing and deserved to be number 1.
Yeah.
Um, so, like, just everyone chill out.
Yeah.
Um, also, the superiority complex issue.
God.
This really annoys me. I mean, all of this really annoys me. But this in particular really annoys me.
Yeah.
Um, and not just with stats. I've even seen this like within, like pitting the girls against each other.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons Jesse left.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, this like trying to drag the other girls to bring one up, or like trying to force them all into categories, and like the other ones can't be good at other categories because like they all have to fit, like they'll have to be superior in the one thing or the two things and they can't overlap.
Newsflash.
Yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, so not a fan of that. Also, I was saying again, sorry guys, I hate to bring up the Jesse thing again, but it is like super relevant right now. I hope it's not when this comes out. I hope you guys are all rolling your eyes like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
But like, it's everywhere right now.
Yeah.
And it's still really annoying me. I'm actually really pissed off about like the mental health conversation that's happening in society right now in general. So it's not just like Jesse and the fandom. I'm actually like really having like issues with it societally, like in general right now. It's really bothering me. That's also playing factors into this, just so you guys have some context. I saw a lot of like, oh, because Jesse left for mental health, that's superior to One Direction and Fifth Harmony.
Yeah.
And like there was a lot of people upset that when she started making music, somehow her doing that invalidated the superiority Little Mix had. And like that was the problem with her making music.
Mhm.
um that's such shit. Like I mean, it's disrespectful and like immature. But also like the people you're talking about are human, and none of this is like black and white. Um Like, I saw a lot of, like, Zayn said he was leaving for mental health, and then he immediately went solo. I don't know a lot about Zayn. I'm not interested in knowing a lot about Zayn, but from what I've gathered, he said he left for mental health. or something similar, something with health related. And then he chose to go back to music. Um, but from my understanding, he also changed how he does music. Like, from my understanding, he doesn't really do like performances or promo. That like he's very restrictive in like his schedule and due to like I think it's his anxiety. If I'm getting some of this wrong, guys, I'm sorry. I'm really not fully educated in this. This is just like what I've seen. Um, that seems very clear to me that like his mental health was part of the reason he left. Maybe it's not the entire reason, but like if he then proceeded to like change his life to situate his mental health and he's doing things differently than the band did. I don't like that doesn't seem like it invalidates to me. I'm not really sure how it cancels out his reasoning or makes him a hypocrite. Like that really confuses me, and also like trying to put Jesse over them is kind of like just it's not dehumanizing, but like at the same time it kind of is because
Yeah.
you're like treating them like characters and not like people.
Yeah, that's definitely a big problem, I feel like, is treating people like characters.
Yeah, like you're not considering that people are complicated. And even with Camilla, like I don't know the full story with that. Don't really want to know the full story with that. But like, you know, I think she was clear she wanted to do solo stuff. But like there was this like superiority thing that mixers were claiming because like she left on bad terms and Jesse didn't. And like Fifth Harmony and she were shady or something. I really don't know the full story. Um but like I mean what I know is like very few things, one of them being that they threw a dummy off stage in their first performance without her. So I'm going to say it wasn't totally chill. That doesn't make the situation Camilla was in or the other girls were in. That doesn't invalidate that situation. It doesn't like make them all horrible people. And it doesn't make them like lesser or less worthy or less deserving or less talented. Um,
And it's none of our business.
it really isn't. And again, it's like treating them like characters that you can move around in order to like have the narrative you want.
Hmm.
Um, and that's just bullshit. Like, I don't,
Yeah, there's no reason to compare them.
then it's like it's invalidating to Jessie because you're not actually concerned about her. You're just worried with like the optics of Little Mix being superior.
Yeah, and how the locals are going to view it.
Yeah, and how like the general public is gonna see it, and like how bad that will like be for the other girls if she releases music before them, or like
Mhm.
whatever it is. I don't know, but like it's just dumb. Like you're like again, you're just not looking at them as people, like as human beings. Um, so I don't know. That one really annoys me. It really does. I do not like the dehumanizing aspect of that. Um,
Yeah.
all right. Anything else on that one?
No, that was really it.
Okay. Moving on to Twitter confession accounts, editing their body and skin, and Jesse cropping.
Not okay.
Which one do you want to start with?
I have Twitter first, so I don't know if you just want to start with that.
I mean, we've kind of like been talking about the toxicity of Twitter and Instagram. Well, not so much Instagram, but we're about to get to Instagram right now. But Twitter, so we don't really need to harp on it too much, but it's negative, toxic, clicky, immature, ignorant, and aggressive.
Yeah, there's like also this whole like cancel culture on there that's just really bad, like within like the fans. Um, because I think I mentioned this in an episode that I don't think we're gonna upload, right?
Yeah,
It
I think it
was
got cut.
yeah. So I'll mention it here. But like the whole like if you don't unfollow whoever like was problematic at the time, then I'm going to unfollow you is just so toxic. Like people aren't on Twitter 24/7. Like for me, I haven't been on Twitter and like scrolled in probably about 2 months. So like I at the time like when I was actually on it, I would check it maybe like once or twice a day for like 2 minutes. So I'm not on it. I had people unfollow me because I still followed someone who was quote unquote canceled just because I wasn't online. And because of that, this hasn't happened to me, but I've seen it happen to other people. You get like this kind of like title that you're problematic because you still support them. Like it just gets really bad and really toxic and it's not needed. Like my entire life isn't being in a Little Mix stan, which I feel like if you say that on Twitter, you'll get canceled. Like you have to like be careful to breathe on Twitter. That's like my take on it.
Honestly, though,
Like I don't know if it's just me, but like the whole like if you aren't at every streaming party, if you aren't like vocally expressing your gratitude all the time, if you're just not there every second of the day, you're like you get this like stigma of not being like a real fan.
yeah, I feel like when you're younger, you have more time to dedicate to it,
Mhm.
and like Little Mix kind of is your world.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as a 24-year-old, I think, uh, I do not have that.
Yeah. I'm currently struggling editing my own videos right now.
My world is bigger than Little Mix, quite bigger.
Yeah.
I know that I think a lot of you who are listening to this will know that I do try to put a lot of time into the channel, into my videos, into like supporting them publicly with campaigns and just like post, trying to help people learn how to stream or how to do this or that. But my world is bigger than Little Mix.
Mhm.
and and that's all I got. Like I can't spend my every waking moment worried about them.
Yeah. Or like if you like missed a piece of like the news, like people are like, "Well, how'd you like miss that? Have it how?" I'm like,
Yeah, like I've seen like someone commented like on my favorite moments from Brazil, and someone commented and was like, why isn't Perry there? And someone nicely said she was sick. And then there was someone who like months later commented and was like, if you were really a fan, you'd know that.
yeah,
And then the
like
person replied and was like, I don't have social media.
yeah, like you can be a fan, you can be supportive of them, you can like do all that, but you don't have to have your entire life dedicated to being a fan, which I feel like this fandom just does not understand. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something that really gets on my nerves. Like that's like something that I really see as an issue. Just because like if you're not there 24/7, then you're a bad fan or something, or you don't support them, or you're a hater, or whatever. So, and that just makes me not want to be active. I if anybody's getting anything from these podcast episodes, I'm really petty. So like if you tell me I have to like a song, I'm going to instantly not want to like it. That's just how I
Yeah.
am. So if you tell me I have to be active on Twitter, I don't want to.
Having to interact from the fandom is definitely like the worst part of being a
Yeah.
fan. Okay, Instagram. Moving on to Instagram a bit. Because honestly, there's a lot to talk about with Twitter, but like, I think you're getting the vibe.
Yeah, half of this, all a good majority of the stuff we're talking about is from Twitter.
um, yeah, because it is where a lot of the problematic stuff. Because here's the thing too. Um, Twitter is a really great breeding ground for that. And I think we all
Mhm.
know that if we've ever used it, or even maybe just from media coverage. The way Twitter is set up is for um like these type of things to get spread really easily, and the limit on the amount of characters makes you have to be short and concise in the things you say, which of course, like, the less detailed and less precise you are, like, the more easily it can be misconstrued or misunderstood. um and so it all just kind of breed, and then like the way the algorithm works is that like you see things in your timeline by people that you don't even follow,
Mhm.
and then so you can't like curate your feed, and then anything that goes popular goes viral. Like, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, it gets spread around. So like it's a perfect breeding ground for this toxic environment,
Yeah.
and for like misinformation, for like all of that. Like, it's a perfect breeding ground because Twitter's entire structure is set up on people interacting with each other, whereas Instagram is a little bit less problematic in that way, or a little less toxic in that way, because it's actually very difficult to interact in that way on Instagram. Instagram is more of a like solitary app, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like you post pictures and sure there can be comments, but you can't really have like conversations that go viral.
Mhm.
You can turn off comments very easily. You can post stories, but the stories are like pretty much one way. Sure, you can reply to them, but that's like not a convenient way to communicate on the app. It's just not set up in order to like feed the frenzy of toxicity the way Twitter is. That's personally why that's the one I prefer to use if I'm going to use one, is because I can curate my feed. It won't show me things that from people I don't follow.
Yeah.
So that type of stuff I find to be better. I can mute accounts, which I know you can do um on Twitter, but like I can mute like specific parts of accounts, right? I can mute a story, I can mute posts, I can do both. And so it just gives you a little bit more control over what you're seeing, and so it helps in that sense to not create such a toxic environment, unless you're curating that yourself.
Yeah.
However, that does not mean it's not toxic at all.
Just harder to find.
Yeah, this is where we enter confession accounts.
God. I think everybody like agrees that these are just God.
These are horrendous. These accounts are just like accounts meant to cause controversy and give people a platform to voice their negative opinion anonymously.
Mhm.
And to say like catty things or just like general negative toxic things. Um and that's real yikes. And it's
Yeah.
usually targeted at individual girls, right? So it's like a hate comment about Perry, that's based in like not truth, or it's Lee's voice. That type of stuff is a no-go.
Yeah, not everything that's sent in needs to be posted.
Yeah, like there are some things that are fine. Someone's, um
Least favorite song or
yeah, or like something constructive in an opinion. It doesn't have to be a positive opinion, but
Mhm.
like just something that's not like disparaging or excessively negative
Yeah.
or judgmental or toxic or like meant to provoke
Yeah.
or like blatantly like pitting them against each other. Like not everything that comes in needs to be posted, and just saying like, "Oh, it's not my opinion. I don't care. You posted it. You gave them a platform."
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot, right? Like I say, I'm not going to host certain things on my platform and it's mine. So if that has a problem with you, too bad.
Mhm.
It's the same concept. Like that's your platform. What you choose to make public and to give voice to is on you.
Yeah. They can send it in, but it's one thing to like actually go through and post it.
Yeah, like you're the one that created like the post that actually goes up.
Yeah. And like the worst part is that like this is like it's kind of going off topic, but like not really. Um it's not just this fandom that has problems with this. Like confession accounts are so bad on every fandom. Like I've seen some in some other ones that I used to be in, and they're just so toxic that it gets to the point where there's this one that I saw where either every single time people in the comments were arguing, at some point one of the people from the fandom, like somebody from that show, saw it and it just got bad. So the whole thing just needs to like calm down, be monitored. It's okay to post some things like I wish they would have toured in this country, but once it gets really bad, that's no. Not even really bad, just bad.
If you can see that there's a trend of problematic things about one of the girls, stop posting it.
Yeah.
Like everyone talking about how Lee has improved. It's coded language.
Mhm.
And I can tell you from running a channel, I can pick up that pattern. So if you're running a confession account, I can almost guarantee that you are going to be able to pick up that pattern. Stop posting it, stop feeding into it.
Yeah. Just some food for thought.
Yeah. So that's kind of it on confession accounts. Moving on to the editing of the girl's body and skin.
That needs to stop. It's so bad on Facebook.
Yeah. Like, I see it a lot on Insta. I see it, I'm not on Facebook, but apparently you are, so that's bad there.
No, I see it from people posting it on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, like, I understand it's, like, fun to play with, like, their hair color or, to, like, put filters on them, but, like, we need to be aware that if you're whitewashing Jaden Lee, that's a problem. If you're
Yeah,
making Jesse and Perry darker with your filter, that's a problem.
yeah,
If you're face tuning them, if you're like making changes to their body, that's a problem. Even to an extent too, I sometimes see like those drawings that people do. They're really pretty. You're very talented. Um, you've changed Jesse's body shape to be just like the other girls.
oh, yeah.
Like stick thin. That's like not great. Even for like Perry as well and like Jade and Lee, like they all have different body types. Jade and Lee are a little bit similar, but like they're still different. And if you're going to draw them, if you're going to draw anyone, I would really strongly ask you to consider like attempting to keep the integrity of their body intact. I know that like sometimes it feels like an aesthetic choice, but like for someone who's had an eating disorder, for a woman who has body image issues and like disordered eating and is still struggling with that, to be like editing and drawing her body to be an unreachable like standard of beauty, like quote unquote, is just not good. I think I've seen people like give Jade like more cleavage and bigger boobs than she has. She's got small boobs, it's fine. She's now accepted and she likes her small boobs. Like, we don't need to be giving her bigger boobs just for the sake of like an aesthetic, or like trimming all their waists down to like unreasonable amounts
Yeah,
to give them more like womanly shapes. If they're more boxy, they're more boxy. Yeah, I don't know. So the editing, even in drawings of their bodies, but yeah, especially like the whitewashing and the darkening of the skin is a big no. Like,
yeah,
you just need to take a minute and look at the filter you put on them and just check yourself. Like, do they look like the same race? And if the answer is questionable, it's a no go.
yeah,
They're human beings. They're not characters. They're not like these fictional people that you can like meld to whatever you want. Like, they're real people. Leading us to a cropping of Jessie. This is actually a problem on Insta and Twitter.
yeah,
The girls can crop her, especially in a time where they can't really do a lot of like new photo shoots and stuff, right?
mhm,
Um, you as a fan cannot crop her out of performances she was in, photo shoots she was in,
yeah.
memories that she was in, interviews. Erasing Jesse's presence from the Little Mix like timeline is a huge no.
Yeah, like if you want to post a picture with all three of them, then find a picture that already had all three of them in it, where she wasn't pictured.
Yeah, like we've had some in the past.
Use one of those.
Stop cropping her.
Yeah,
It's super disrespectful.
yeah,
She's part of the reason the group is successful. She was present. She worked just as hard as they did. Trying to erase her from that is really shit. And I've seen things like OT3 Archive where all they do is crop her out on Twitter. It's like the purpose of the account.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's some bullshit right there.
yeah.
Anything else like that?
Um, no, I don't think so. Just for the like, if you even if you see one of the girls cropping her out, that doesn't give you permission to crop her out. They got permission from Jessie herself to crop her out, or she specifically requested to get cropped out. Like this goes like back before even she left. Like
Yeah, like this goes like this goes back to like Perry cropping her out of a photo, everyone like freaking out, and then her being like, Jesse asked me to.
yeah, different standards there.
Yeah, also to really stress like the skin issue. Like, we've really got to be careful about making their skin different colors.
Yeah.
Um even with Lee, like making her appear darker than she is is also problematic.
Yeah.
Or jade darker than she is. That's also very problematic. It's not just like whitewashing or making the white girls darker. There are racism issues in that like are affected by how dark your skin is. So making them look darker than they are is still problematic.
Mhm.
Keep the integrity of their bodies, of their skin intact when you edit photos. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
This fandom is very two-faced.
Oh god.
We're two-faced to each other, but we're also kind of two-faced when it comes to the girls. I mean, one, we're two-faced to them in the sense that like we hype them up when we're in their comment section and then we drag them when we're not.
Yeah, are there for them when they're going through something and then act like their enemy.
Yeah, or like when they're opening up about their struggles, we're really supportive, but then when they're having good days, we turn on them.
Yeah, exactly.
And suddenly like we don't believe them and we don't support them. Or like when they're not talking about their struggles, like we're like, whatever.
Mhm.
Okay, also though, we're two-faced in this sense. Um, the girls deserve all the credit when something good happens, and it's never their fault when something bad happens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you guys to explain that to me in the comments. Like you can't be touting that the girls have never had more like creative control over their careers, but then when they release songs that don't do well or collab with artists you don't like, it was never their decision and it's all the label's fault.
Mhm.
There's always like an excuse for why they're not to blame. All right, another thing that really annoys me: fan conspiracy theories.
Mhm.
I hate these. I hate these. I hate them a lot.
They go way overboard.
They're so extreme. They're so misinformed. They're so not based in fact. They are just so like talk about fake news.
Yeah. God.
They're so annoying. And also the people talking about them are also like so entitled and stubborn and aggressive.
We always say, "Don't believe everything you see in the press." Like, if it's in the tabloids, it's most likely not true. Like, we say that all the time. But then we find stuff that's on Reddit and we're like, "Oh my god, this is it."
But
Like,
they even believe the shit in the tabloids.
okay, that's true.
Like, I can't tell you the amount of like people who believe that Perry was offered to go solo because the Sun said so.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've definitely been there where I've believed like some of those conspiracies. Well, I wouldn't say believed, but I definitely like have addressed them in either my videos or whatever it has been. But I've been very careful to say that it was a rumor, that it's not actually like backed up by facts.
I mean, I just ignore them in general because they irritate me. But like,
Yeah, I do now.
yeah, part of the growing up.
Yeah, God.
Like, this is also the people who said that Jessie was pregnant during the Dangerous Woman era. This is people who said that Perry and Jessie hated each other. This is the same people who have linked them romantically to a shit ton of guys they've never dated. You just can't believe that shit, especially when like you hear the girls literally say the opposite.
Yeah.
For you to then be insisting no, it's still true after the girls have denied it, fucked up.
Yeah, and like whenever anybody tries to like bring facts to be like, "No, that is impossible to have happened because this, and this," then they get mad at them.
Like there's always an excuse why they're still right, even when you've proven them wrong.
Yeah.
And it's really problematic, guys, because that is the mentality that leads to things like misinformation and like fake news. And like, I mean, if you haven't realized how terrible that is, let me tell you from the US, it's bad. It's very, very bad. It
Yeah.
ends in people storming your capital,
Mhm.
trying to overthrow the government and stop a peaceful transition of power.
Yeah.
And that's what that mentality is. Like, it's a very much toned down version of I only want to believe what I want to believe from unreliable sources with no credible, like, backing because I like what it says.
Mhm.
That's a problem. That's a very big problem. Please stop doing that.
Yeah.
Also, some of these fan theories, right, that aren't quite as, well, they're still extreme, that aren't extreme in the same way.
Yeah, not as aggressive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're still aggressive, but they're
That's true. They're like a
They're
a
like
different type of aggressive.
yeah, they're a different type of aggressive, which is like, stop shipping the girls romantically.
Yeah, it just gets weird and kinda gross, like
Like, I stop sexualizing the girls together, like, stop taking platonic relationships and forcing the sexualization of that and, like, the fetishization of that. Um, it's really uncomfy and gross, and again, is like, you're rewriting their reality, so, like, again, you're treating them like characters and not like people.
yeah.
Real uncomfy with that. That's real problematic, guys. Like, I've seen this especially with Jerry.
Yes.
And not necessarily so much like current Jerry, but like first 5 years of Little Mix Jerry, super problematic, like
Yeah.
fan conspiracy theory belief that Jerry was in love
Yeah.
and having a secret relationship and like complete like I've seen the videos on YouTube from that time, they're scary.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, they really
uh,
are.
people do sexualize Pessy a bit, but I don't usually see Pessy being romantically or sexually shipped in like a way in which the girls themselves are not sexualizing it.
Yeah.
Like Pessy used to be very touchy and sexual on their own with grinding and touching and groping and you know what I mean? Like they were
Mhm.
doing that themselves and so sure fans were commenting on it and gifting it and putting it in videos. But they weren't then insisting that they were in love or that meant they were having a sexual relationship. To be like pushing a narrative of romance or sex onto them is a not okay.
Yeah.
What else is there? Speculating about absolutely everything. Please stop.
Mhm. Yeah, it's okay to have, like, your own theory, but once you say it, that's when it spreads and gets misinformation and
Yeah, like, stop gossiping with your theory. Like, if you're
yeah.
gonna have it, just talk to people privately. Like, stop putting it on public platforms. Like, stop trying to, like, insist that, like, the way you view it is the correct way, and so you're gonna go under everyone else who disagrees with you and, like, cause fights to
Mhm.
insist that your way is the right way when we legit know nothing.
Yeah.
Seen this a lot with like Perry and Zane and like Gigi. I've also seen this with like the Jerry stuff again, the like creepy romantic shipping.
Yeah.
It's just very problematic, like pushing of narratives that literally have are not based in fact. Or that like are based in the smallest of fact and you've like blossomed them into this huge tale that doesn't exist and then you're like putting it online for it to gain traction and then people who aren't in the fandom or who are only vaguely in the fandom see it and thinks that's true and then they spread it and like it's just a problem. Please stop doing it.
Mhm.
Anything else with that? This applies too to like the whole like you guys are always like, oh, we're clowning ourselves, like well then stop.
Yeah.
Like you're not making a clown of yourself if you stop making things up. If
Yeah.
you stop taking crumbs and turning them into pastries, you won't realize it's a pie in the face. Like, that's what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, your rumors and your tabloids, like not tabloids, yeah, actually, you're believing tabloids and your rumor and your gossiping and your speculating, is the reason we make headlines. Just saying.
Yeah.
Moving on to infighting in the fandom.
Woohoo.
This one's fun.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got UK versus international, we've got equal versus equity, we've got the fact that like stands of girls or ships fighting others. You have concert tickets down, which you'll have to explain.
I do.
Which one do you want to do first?
Do you wanna start with, like, the multiple fandoms inside one fandom?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you have a solo artist, you're all there for the same person. And that's all a common factor. You all agree you love this one person and you're there to support them. That is not what it's true in a group.
Yeah.
You have solo stands, you have favorites pairings or ships, even like friendship ships. And there's not something inherently wrong with connecting to one or two girls more than the others. However, it does mean that it creates a lot of opportunity for pettiness and infighting and comparisons because not everyone is there for the same reason and the same person.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's ripe for conflict.
Yeah. Especially because, like, each, like, sub-fan group is so drastically different.
And like kind of just aggressive towards others.
Yeah, they're very scary.
Yeah, the Jerry versus Pessy stands
God.
problem.
Yeah, or even, like, Jerry versus, like, leigh-anne, like,
Yeah, yeah.
I get a lot of those.
Leigh versus Pessy.
Yeah.
Those are really the only ones I see that are like problems.
Yeah, the other ones don't really. I very rarely see them, and if I do, it's normally not something bad.
Yeah, I don't really see the other ones having issues. It's really those main three.
Yeah.
And again, superiority complex. Also like guys, just because you like something doesn't inherently make it the best.
Yeah.
um because you like a certain friendship dynamic or you like a certain girl or you relate to certain people more does not make them superior to other people.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Yeah.
And just because you value certain things doesn't make those things more important than other things.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes them more important to you. It doesn't make them more important in general.
Yeah.
What next? Well, actually, can we do equal versus equity? I think that
Mhm.
plays into that.
Yeah.
Equal is sorry if I'm explaining something some of you guys already know, but we're just gonna do it anyway. Bear with me. Equal is everything literally being equal and manufacturing situations so that it is exactly equal. Equity is equal opportunity. Is not even equal, it's fair opportunity, it's just opportunity. So it doesn't mean that everything turns out equal, it means that it all balances out.
Mhm.
The fandom is really obsessed with equal, and
Yeah.
we need to be really more focused on equity. It's not about every girl singing the exact same amount or getting the same amount of high notes or the ad libs or like whatever it is. It's about did they all get a chance to shine?
Yeah.
What do you want to do next?
Do you want me to do, like, the concert ticket thing? Because then that'll kinda go into, like, UK versus international a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, this is something I saw. I mean, I've seen it, like, a few times, but, like, I saw it a lot for the confetti tour, like, the ticket sales because I was, like, the most recent. Um, there's this thing where people can't buy more than 1 ticket for each concert. Like, let's say they go to London 3 times. You can, like, only go to those concerts, and if you do, you cannot be in a good seat every single time. Because I've seen, like, people, like, like, when everybody buys their ticket, like, they all post about it, and everybody's like I did, like, everybody's like, "Oh, like, I got this seat, like, who's going to this one? Like, so we can meet up." Like, everybody's excited, like, they're happy about it, like, just having their little, like, "Woo" moment. And then there's, like, the people being like, "Well, you should give other people a chance to get those tickets." Everybody has the same opportunity, which is something I don't think a lot of people seem to, like, realize who comment that type of stuff. Everybody gets into the Ticketmaster or wherever you buy it, like, group at the same time. Everybody logs in at the same time. Everybody has the same opportunity. If they can afford it, they can
Equity.
choose to buy it. Yeah, exactly. Like, someone is allowed to buy 5 first row tickets for 5 different concerts. Like, that's them. If they want to, they're allowed to. Like, I that's just something that really gets on my nerves, I'm sorry, but that's something I see, like, a lot of fights about because it's people complaining that they didn't give anybody any other opportunities to get those tickets when in reality everybody has the same opportunity to buy them. And so there really doesn't need to be this whole, like, scandal debacle about all this. Like, it's concert tickets. Like, I don't think that's what we're realizing here. It's concert tickets. Like, a lot of it too, like the people who comment, like, you should like give other people a chance to buy those tickets, and like you shouldn't go to that many concerts. Are people who are like international and like they're not touring,
Yeah.
like that's where I see it the most. And I'm over here like, what?
The majority of people in the UK who go to, and I think we can both agree, like we majority see this like attack on UK people who go to
Hmm.
multiple shows.
Yeah.
Um Guys, the majority of people at UK concerts are locals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let the stands buy as many tickets as they want.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the girls would rather see stands in the audience than locals.
Yeah. Literally. Like, I don't understand.
Like, when you all complain that the UK crowds aren't loud enough, it's because it's locals.
Yeah, and it's definitely only, like, UK stands that I see this happening to, like, people
Yeah,
who
because 'cause
are
they're the only ones that have, like, multiple dates in multiple places where and it's, like,
mhm.
easy to travel, like, to other it's, like, all connected and easy to get to the next city.
Yeah, like, the people who maybe went to, like, one of the concerts in, like, Paris or, like, Amsterdam or something, like, they definitely did not get this much, like, um, controversy over buying a ticket.
Let them, like, just stop
Let them
hating on
be.
that, like, I just like, it's convenient and easy, and if they have the money to do so, just, like, let them enjoy the concerts.
I know. Yeah, like, there's this one girl who, I won't say her name, but, like, she bought, like, a bunch of tickets and, all of her seats were, like, really good. And, like, people were just complaining and complaining about it, and I was like, "Everybody needs to calm down." Like, when I posted I got first row tickets in one of the concerts, nobody said anything to me because I'm not a UK stan.
I will also say I appreciate those fans that show up to multiples in good seats. Why?
Yeah.
Because they record their experience and put it on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah, I need to do better at
Um, I'm very appreciative of them. They don't have to
that.
do that.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
If they
oh.
don't do that, I don't have videos to use for my shit.
Yeah,
Um,
like, I don't know.
Also, that means you don't have videos to watch of the concerts. It means you get shit videos with crap audio from, like, seats way in the back. Like,
Yeah.
we could all just be a little bit more appreciative of the UK stands that go and take really quality front row videos.
Mhm. And hype them up and, like, drown out all the locals who are just there to who knows
Yeah.
what.
And then, like, the girls recognize those stands. Like, it's really cute when the girls, like, realize that, like, they're like, "Hey," like, "That's cute.
Yeah.
It's a nice experience for the girls." Like, stop making it negative.
Yeah, especially when it's not, like, your money that they're spending, like, it's their money, they
Yeah,
earned it, let them spend it on what they want.
honestly.
I don't know.
And that leads us into the UK versus international.
Yeah, god.
This fight is stupid.
It's so dumb, there's nothing to fight about, like, there really isn't.
We don't need to take our frustration out on UK stands because they get things that we don't.
Yeah, it's not
That's
their
not their
fault.
fault.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we're mad at them or yelling at them or shaming them or like
Yeah.
like picking fights with them. Like I'm really not sure what the point of that is. Like they can't control it. And we should just be happy that they're getting it because they get it and then they share it with us.
Mhm.
Like when things air on TV or like we get UK tours, it's those fans that record it and put it online.
Yeah, exactly, like, I wouldn't be able to watch some of the things if, like, they did not put the links out to watch, like, Little Mix the Search. Like,
Yeah, like that's one of those things where they're actually helping us, and so I don't know why we're hating on them.
yeah, especially because we all support the same people, like,
Yeah,
just
honestly.
let it be, and they're always happy for us whenever, like, they come over here, like, to America, like,
Yeah, like the UK fans are always like, "We want a world tour." But like we're over here like, "Why are they in the UK?"
I know, like, what the heck? I can't. It's too
Like people were pissed off they had a summer tour coming again because it was only UK dates. People were pissed off. Like I
Mhm.
just like just let it be okay. Like just
I
let it
know.
happen.
That's what happens when you support an artist who's not from your country, like, or is not as popular in your country, like
That's literally what happens. That is just the shtick that comes with it.
Yeah.
And then, right, there's also, like, the fighting over, like, UK crowds aren't loud enough,
Yeah.
UK fans aren't grateful enough, UK fans don't stream enough. Like, guys, like, none of these things are productive, like, or helpful. Like, I'm
Or
sorry, if
doesn't
you're gonna
matter.
yell at me that I don't stream or support the girls enough, guess what I'm not gonna do?
Exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna partake in your campaign to stream, and I'm not gonna stream, and I'm not gonna put up videos of the concerts, and I'm not gonna share, like, when they do an intimate gig that has no professional recording and that,
Mhm.
like, 20 people show up to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that stuff is like, we rely on UK fans for things, I don't know why we bully them so much.
I know. It's so dumb.
I get it. It's frustrating. Like, we can't enter contests and, we can't see the tours and there's like special exclusives that only happen in the UK. I get it. Okay, I understand. I live in the US. I get it. The shipping for things is ridiculous. I literally would pay more
Oh
to ship
god.
something than I would to pay for the item.
Yeah, or we can't even just buy it in general.
But, like, this attacking of UK fans who have no control over it, like, saying they're not deserving, like, is just such bullshit and so negative and disrespectful and, like, again, just makes the fandom a toxic place that no one wants to be in.
Yeah.
So let's just not do that anymore.
Yeah, literally. It's not their fault. Just leave it.
Alright, moving on.
Yeah.
Alright, because the fandom is so toxic and aggressive and immature and young and ignorant, it mishandles a lot of situations.
Oh my god. So bad. It's so bad.
Um, okay, so and this is gonna be controversial, probably the most controversial thing we've said this whole podcast because everyone
Oh.
agrees the fandom sucks. The way we call out the girls when they do problematic things gets mishandled and eventually ends up being not acceptable.
Yeah.
The way in which I'm talking about that is when it turns into harassment
Mhm.
and bullying and, um, like I think harassment is just the best word.
It is.
And what I mean with this, right? So the most recent one was Jade and Jesse. Okay, so the way we call them out, so there's one thing where you write out like a note, right? Like
Mhm.
I saw this happening, right? Where people like wrote out a note and explaining it very politely and kind of spread that around in the hopes the girls would see it.
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's fine. But what it turned into with Jade and Jesse was people spamming their messages, their DMs. And again, you can think, well, I'm being nice, but so are 1,000 other people. And I don't
Yeah.
mean being nice, but like 1,000 other people are also DMing them. And if you were standing in a room and 1,000 people are yelling at you at the same time, it doesn't matter what they're saying, you're going to feel attacked
Yeah.
and you're going to get defensive and you're not going to listen. You just need to be aware of the larger scope of these things. So, A, that's one problem. Like, that's not an effective way to get your point across. That's very problematic.
Yeah.
And you're almost guaranteed to cause the girls to shut down and not listen to you.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which I might even be worse,
Yeah.
is the harassment of their friends and family.
Yeah, that's just
That is literally something that is like legally not okay.
yeah.
They could, like, take action against you, they could go to, like, the social media that you're doing it on, like, that is not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay to reach out to their family, their boyfriends, their friends, their coworkers, their employees, their team, like Claude and Jamie and Zach and Heidi and, like, all of their dancers. They are employed by the girls. Those are their employees. They might have
Mhm.
friendships, but at the end of the day, the girls are their bosses. You are
Yeah.
going to their employees and harassing them about what the girls are doing. That is so unacceptable. You're harassing Jade's mom.
Yeah.
You are harassing private citizens that have not chosen to be public figures. You are literally committing like actions that could potentially get you at legal risk if they chose to pursue it.
Mhm.
It's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Like harassing the girls themselves is already not okay, but doing it to private citizens or employees is absolutely not acceptable. I don't even know how to say it so that like it gets through because what I'm saying is not extreme enough.
Yeah, literally. Just don't do it. That's, like, literally, like, I don't know how to say it. It's just, like, that's not how you handle a situation, that's not okay. Like, and it might be like, "Well, it's an important issue." Yes, it's an important issue, but that's not an effective way to get through to them. That's a very, very, um, pretty much illegal way to get through to them.
I'm not going to listen to you. Like I've automatically dismissed anything that's going to come out of your mouth because you're harassing me and my loved ones and my coworkers and my employees. That's not the way to do it. That is not an first of all, it's not an acceptable way to do it, but it's
Mm.
also not an effective way to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the issues are very important, and trying to educate and provide different perspectives is good, and we want to do that. How we do it is a very, very important, and the way that we have done it is not okay and not effective.
Mhm.
I don't have a perfect answer for how to do it. I just can tell you the way we're doing it right now.
Not it.
That doesn't mean that what the girls didn't do is wrong. Wait, that doesn't mean what the girls did was right. I think I had a weird double negative that didn't make sense. Um, and that doesn't mean that the girls are in the right. It means that you have also, like, you are now also in the wrong. And you're also ruining any chance you have of having productive results, positive results from this. You're actually guaranteeing negative results. It doesn't mean that it wasn't problematic. It doesn't mean they don't need to be educated. It just means like that's not it. That's not the way.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anything else on that one?
Not that I have.
I'm going to move on. Um, if you have negative stuff you want to talk about, that's not necessarily a problem that you want to put it online. If you're doing it constructively, if it has a purpose besides I had a thought and so I posted it, or I want to cause drama, or I want attention, um, or I want a tweet to do well, like that type of stuff is not constructive. That's not productive.
Mhm.
If you're going to express negative things publicly, it should be constructive. It should lead something. It should have the opportunity to be productive, and it should be constructive.
Yeah.
Um, that's an important key part to communicating with negative stuff. And it's not saying that you can't have your opinions. It's not saying that you whatever. It's just a matter of like being thoughtful and mindful of the things that you put out into the world, of the atmosphere and the vibes and the like little community society we have that you feed into. Like just not being a negative person,
Yeah.
which like is kind of weird for even me to say because especially with my depression, I'm a very pessimistic like dry dark humor type of person.
Oh, me too.
Um, like, I'm really not, like, an optimistic, positive person, like, I'm truly not. However, I do really try to be productive and aware and mindful in the way that I express things and the way that I interact with people.
Mm.
Um, and that includes, like, when and where and how I express my opinions. That includes, even outside of the fandom, guys, that includes, like, how I conduct my relationships with the people in my life. Really not that hard to just be less negative and be mindful. Anything else you wanna say?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna move on to one that applies to me. This one is solely about me. Please stop harassing me. Um, there are a handful of accounts, and I'm not gonna name them because I don't want to put a target on their back, like, I don't want them to be harassed. Um, but, uh please stop harassing me. If I've told you that I'm not interested in having these discussions with you, if I've told you to please leave me alone, if I've deleted comments where you've replied to me so that you can't reply to me anymore, if I have blocked you on social media, if I'm ignoring you on social media, if I'm ignoring you on my videos, uh, then please do not. Then when you see my comments on reaction videos, other compilation videos from other channels, interviews, anything like that, then proceed to harass me under my comment. Not appreciated. Sometimes to some of you, maybe the comments will look a bit more innocent. But when those accounts follow me around and comment under everything I say, and I can't block them, like I can't make it so that they can't interact with me on videos that aren't mine. YouTube does not allow it. I don't have that setting. So I literally cannot stop them from following me around to different little mix videos and harassing me. I can't do that. Like I can't do anything about it except for just never comment on anything ever again. So sometimes maybe to you guys the comments seem more innocent, but if like to me, if I have already had a negative confrontation with you and told you to leave me alone or that I'm done having these conversations or blocked you on social media or whatever it is, then for you to be commenting under almost every comment or every comment I make, that is harassment.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're not being outright nasty. If you were stalking me around the fandom in comment sections, you are harassing me. Please stop. And you, if you don't mind vouching for me, I've talked to her about some of these like off air, I guess.
Mhm.
um, and I've like literally read them to her, the whole chains, like the my original comments. Like, are they a problem? Like, if I said something wrong, something problematic?
No, literally no. Like, there's no reason for someone to, like, come and yell at you, like
It's so obnoxious. And I really don't want to feel afraid to use my voice in this fandom.
Yeah,
That's not something I want to feel. And right now, that is how I feel. I've literally not been commenting on things because I get harassed for it. And I guess that's kind of it for the podcast, right?
I think so, yeah.
You guys have asked us like, have we ever wanted to leave the fandom? The answer is yes, for all of these reasons we just went over.
Yeah,
Um, and to be completely honest with you guys, like, it's something I'm currently struggling with.
yeah,
It's rough right now, to be completely honest. And I'm trying to power through and wait it out and all of that. But this stuff wears and tears.
yeah.
And it's not to say that I don't appreciate those of you who are positive in the comments, who I see like watch my videos religiously, no matter what the topic is. Um, I do see you guys. I do appreciate you, but you know the handful of you are not offsetting everything else. Um, so I do appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, but it's not enough to sustain everything else. So yes, the answer to the question is yes. It's a very nuanced answer. Um, and you know, obviously there's a lot to talk about with it. And that is why this is a longer episode. And, you know, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully something productive comes from this, from our talk about it. That's really all I can hope for.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is it for this week and for this question and this topic. And we'll see you next week.